Hello and welcome to all of my Lamont families. I'm so excited to have you here. My name is Mrs. Crollo, and I'm your student's family and consumer science teacher. Tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit more about myself, as well as the class that your child is taking with me. I'm going to end with a tour of our Google Classroom. If you have any questions, always feel free to call me or email me. That information is going to be at the end of my presentation. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to having you all in my classroom. Welcome to Food Prep. First off, I'm going to talk a little bit more about myself. This is my 9th year teaching Family and Consumer Sciences, but it's my 3rd year teaching at Lamont High School. Some of the classes that I teach here are Introduction to Teaching, your food prep class, Interior Design, and next semester I teach Child Development as well. I'm also an assistant cheerleading coach here at Lamont. A little bit about my educational background. I do have my bachelor's in Family and Consumer Sciences, Career and Technical Education from Eastern Illinois University. I have received my master's recently in Early Childhood Education from American College of Education. Okay, let's get right into talking about our course. This is a year-long course, so there's lots of fun to be had. This is definitely a class that I always say is very kind of like an easy, stress-free class where students can learn life skills that they're going to use forever, but also they're going to have a lot of fun. So I want to talk a little bit about our course outline. So there are 4 units within our entire year. The 4th unit, though, is all on nutrition. We actually have this all throughout our food chapters within each of the semesters. As we go through each chapter of food, fruit, vegetables, grains, cookies, breads, eggs, and dairy, we do incorporate nutritional education within that. We are starting and finishing food safety and storage. It's everyone's favorite. Not really. It takes a long time to really prepare these kids to be in a kitchen and to be safe. So this is a very, very important chapter, but we are finishing this up and we're moving along into equipping the kitchen, learning about all of the utensils and equipment that are in a kitchen, as well as we will touch base on measuring a recipe, measuring and reading a recipe. Then we get into the fun stuff, the cooking of all of the different food chapters. So for first semester, we have fruit, vegetables, grains, and we end in December with cookies. Perfect, right around the holidays. So look forward to that. And then second semester, we get right into cooking again. There's quick breads, eggs, and dairy. Our labs are going to be looking a little bit differently as of right now due to not being in school or only certain students being in school, but we have tried to make it as easy as possible for families. I'm sure you have read some of the emails that I have sent you, but lab activities will be very strategic as there's 3 different days, and that consists of 1 lab. So there's pre-lab where they will read the recipe, figure out exactly what groceries they need, and then go out and get groceries. And then the second day is going to be the lab day where they will actually create their product and record their process of making that product. And then the third day is going to be a post lab where they can actually edit their information and send me all of their info so that I can grade their lab. I understand that every family is going to be different and how they feel about their child cooking at home. I do want you to know that I am super, super flexible. I do think it's very important for these students to be able to apply what they learn here to home. So I always encourage my students, even when we're in school, to cook at home. So this is something that I can totally understand can be more stressful for you parents, but it's super, super important for them to be able to learn and help out with their families. So if at some point, you're having a rough week, you can't get to the grocery store, whatever the situation is, I do have alternative assignments. They could always cook something at home related to the chapter that isn't the recipe we provide for them. So say I want them to make applesauce, but you have no apples at home, but you have pears at home. You can make pear sauce. They're actually very similar fruit. If cooking is just not an option at home, I can definitely give them an alternative assignment that does not involve cooking. It would actually involve me sending them a video that they would watch, and they would write a reflection. Students will be graded on the completion of their pre-lab. That is going to be 10 points, as well as the documentation of completing their cooking lab, and that is 40 points. So altogether, for all 3 days, their entire lab are worth 50 points. Our assessments in the class, there is just going to be quizzes, very, very short quizzes at the end of each chapter. Okay, you should receive this PowerPoint from me through Skyward, and I have put in here your Google Classroom links, easy access to that. So I'm just going to open one up right now so you can kind of get the tour of how I have set up the Google Classrooms. So it will always bring you to the stream page once you go to Google Classroom. This link right here is how my students access our Google Meet. I never ever post assignments in the stream. I just feel like they'll get lost. So I use the stream as a way to have announcements. So if I ever need to remind my students about something, then I will post it in the stream. Classwork is where students will go to receive their assignments. I have organized it according to the chapters that we are currently on. All of the course document information is here for my syllabus and the daily agenda. I do have a daily checklist that my students fill out every single day. It's a way for me to take attendance, but it's also a way for me to kind of get them started with class. They get a bell ringer, and I also ask them every time they have class with me how they're doing for the day. Over here are all my topics on the left. Right now we are starting utensils and kitchen equipment, so they can always go right to the tab this way, or they can always just scroll down. That is all that I have for you today. Obviously, this is a lot of information, so if you ever have questions for me, please feel free to email me, call me, and leave a message. Or I also have a Twitter handle as well, so you can check out all the fun things that we're doing in class. If you ever feel like you need to talk to me in person, obviously at this time I can't physically meet you face to face, but we can always set up a Google Meet to have a conference to talk about any questions or concerns that you have. Again, feel free to contact me at any time. I'm really looking forward to this year, and it was great talking to all of you tonight. I hope you have a great evening.